Wow, for that.
I ain't never been on camera like this.
Right. Yeah, you good.
Nah, you gotta.
You gotta clap. Oh, yeah. Gotta make a clap. Got it.
All right, there we go. And then you can just put it down.
And you gotta do it at the end also.
I bet. I got you.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good wherever you are, and welcome to another episode of the Levicity Show. Levicity, the art of doing what's necessary or difficult to succeed, regardless of fear, obstruction, or embarrassment. A lifestyle we all gotta live.
Safely.
Nah, fuck being safe. Do it dangerously.
Risk management.
Did you do your cert?
Today's episode, we got Darwin here,
I'm Darryl.
and we got Mr. Joshua Parke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
For those listening or watching, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am in the Army. These are my Army buddies.
And
I'm not. I'm not great at talking about myself. I graduate on Friday though. I think that's something we should mention.
Oh, I see that.
Graduate
Congrats.
on Friday. 29. Next month I'm gonna be 30. Next month is a big month for me.
Yeah, everything breaks down from here.
Yeah,
Must be
it started
nice.
breaking down already. 29 and a half. You just pinched. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm in the Army. I'm finishing up school and.
What school, if you don't
I'm
mind
in
me?
Brooklyn College.
Brooklyn
I
College.
graduated at,
Why
Parke
does
Center.
everyone graduate early? I'm seeing all these like graduation things. Mine is next week, but everyone else's is just like graduation photos here. I'm like, why are we the last ones?
It's probably you.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
most likely.
Interestingly, the nurses and the people who are in nurse school and dental school, they get to graduate even though they still have more schooling to go. So they do the graduation. They get to walk. There's something called a walk. I know someone that's a dental hygienist, and their graduation's this year, right? But they don't actually graduate till next year.
So now, what if they walk and they don't finish the program?
Well, that's going to be really embarrassing.
I think that's like an incentive. Like, yeah, you walk, you have to finish it, because if not,
Do you know why they do it that way?
Honestly, no, I don't. I asked a couple of questions. They was like, this is how they do it. They were very brief. I feel like they're afraid they're going to be walking for no reason. So
what are you getting your degree in, if you don't mind me
communications.
asking?
I have a minor in psychology, minor in criminal justice. I enjoy psychology. The psychology classes are really interesting.
Yo, they are.
They're super interesting.
The human
Took a
mind is very.
hypnosis class. Took a hypnosis class. I learned how to do hypnosis. I don't know when I'm ever going to use that.
I feel like they just teach people that in college.
Yeah, they just teach you how to do hypnosis. But
Does it work?
Honestly, his voice made me want to go to sleep. But I don't think like he was really doing what he thought he was doing. I don't think it just wasn't working. It wasn't hitting. His voice, they used the right professor. I'll tell you that. They used the right professor.
You gotta get the AI voice to make it work.
Oh, man. All right, so how's everything been? How's life been?
I'm gonna stop saying that.
No,
I'm
say it.
gonna stop saying
you
it. Every time you ask that, I always say like still worth living and stuff like that. But that's a bit dark. Life has been progressing as it should for me, or at least that's what I'd like to say. If there wasn't like adulting and stuff like that going on, but yeah, graduating next week. Going on an AGR tour that Monday. And yeah, that's about it. For now, at least. Oh God, for now.
Yeah, like you can't start that way and then end that way.
You just said you wasn't going to be morbid. You ended morbid.
That was morbid? Oh,
No, I feel because you started the way you started, it just leaves room for the mind to wander. It's like, oh, is something going on? You need help?
no, I don't need help. No,
Ace
nothing
card?
is going on.
Ace card.
Nah, yeah, I'm good.
How's everything been with you?
No updates from the last one. You see my answer to the last show, and you know.
or reference previous episodes.
Still working on the business and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
It's going pretty well.
that's good. As long as it's going good.
Yeah.
You millionaire yet?
I would not confirm or deny that on the
That
show.
means yes. That means yes. Yes, he is.
That's a good answer.
You gotta stay consistent. So I feel like I have to give that answer because if I don't give it now and I give the same answer later, it sounds odd.
I can see that, yeah. So one of the things I feel like we all have in common is fitness. I mean, you're Air Force, but
Yeah, I don't know how
What are
fit
you
are.
talking about? I'm pretty sure, even though I'm Air Force, I could still, like, bro, do you even lift?
I
Come on.
run. Well, I'm starting to run again. You know, did hurt my back. You know, after 30.
We all 30. Come on.
I mean, but you're Air
Not
Force.
yet.
Yeah, I don't get hurt.
No,
Yeah.
don't hold on.
Because we
I got
smart.
2 more weeks. Like,
Nah, you
Let me
old.
hold on to my 2 weeks.
Nope, that's it. You on the 3rd floor, and the drop is looking kind of steep. So
Man. But I feel like being in the military, fitness is a huge part of it. And I remember, did you ever run a marathon, or were you training to run a marathon?
Furthest I ran 13 miles. I did the Staten Island half.
wow,
Okay, that's an Air Force answer.
wildin'.
I had something that like pushed me to do that though. Like if you ask me what like I went through at that period in my life, I think most people don't know, but like I had to go to BLC twice. And I felt like because of the reason that I left, like if I went running and it was I failed my run by 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I'd have been fine. I'd have been like, okay, I earned that L. But like my first run, I failed by 3 seconds.
Yo,
And
they
then my
couldn't have
second
given
run-
you that.
And then my second run, a second and a millisecond, and they sent me home.
Yo,
They reviewed the tape. It was at Fort Dix. They reviewed the tape. And they're like, yeah, nah, your nose didn't. They showed me my nose didn't cross the line. And that was the only time in my life I wished I had a clown nose. Like, I wanted it to be just big enough to just fit across the finish line. I remember going home and thinking about that, and then I became hungry. And I never stopped running. I ran everything you could find. Any race that was on New York Road Runners, I ran it. 4 miles, 6 miles, 10 miles, 13 miles, 10 miles back to back. That's how I got into it. I was hungry. And then like the thing is when you're hungry like that, there's a way that you're supposed to train your body. And if you don't train your body, you end up like where I'm at now, where injuries start like piling up based off of not training properly, not stretching properly, not doing the things you're supposed to do, and just going out there and trying to be superheroes, drinking and then going and running and stuff like that. Like I was doing things like that.
it's funny because I could relate to that. The 3 seconds or the 7 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember I applied for SAT twice. The first time I failed to run by 7 seconds. And I feel like that 7 seconds hurt me for so long. It's like to the point where like I was thinking back on it, there was times during that run that I walked and it just was there in the back of my mind like, yo, like I really could have passed if I just tried a little bit harder. So I kind of like bring that to everything I do now. It's like give it 100% and, you know, no regrets after the fact.
Hey,
I never failed again. I never failed a PT test again. Last year I went to ALC and I snapped my tibia during the ACFT.
Oh, damn.
I get snapped during the sprint drag carry. And I still ran my 2 miles. I thought about having to go home. I like anytime I get in that position where I'm taking a PT test and I remember those 3 seconds, it pulls another earthly being out of me. Like, and I didn't even think about my leg. I crossed the line. I sat down. The ambulance came out. They took me to the hospital. They're like, they couldn't understand. They was just like, what? You kept running? I'm like, yeah, because of 3 seconds.
It's funny.
like that.
Now that you say that, thinking about it, I never failed a PT test after that again.
You don't. It just wakes up like everybody has that in them. I think everybody does. It just depends on who you are. Like if you want to peel it out, For some people, it takes traumatic experiences, 3 seconds. And then for some of us, it takes like, sometimes it takes, you just want to reach into and just grab it out. So I feel like for me, I as crazy as it sounds, I need traumatic experiences to bring out an animal, or I'm always in chill mode.
I respect that.
Yeah. Wait, so hold on one sec. No. I'm just saying because no, for those that are listening or watching that don't know what we're talking about, because I've heard this a lot. The non-military people that are watching this right now, what we're talking about is like a physical aptitude test we have to take like yearly to basically tell the military like, hey, we're still fit enough to be in there. That's what we've been talking about this entire time. Just I put that disclaimer because there's been talks that the people I know that listen to it that aren't in the military are like, hey, what are we talking about? What is this? What is this? There's so much acronyms going around. Acronym this, acronym that, acronym you.
If you want to know more about those acronyms, go see a local recruiter. I know what Specialist Marte.
That's funny. That's immediately what I thought. Like, go see a recruiter.
But
They got time to explain that.
there's power in that though. I feel like it sucks that you failed, but long term it benefited you so much. And I could imagine. I also think that everybody does go through that phase. Like I remember, well, what got me into running is that I was going to go to Special Forces. And I went to see my brother-in-law who was 160th SOAR Special Ops. And that was the first time I ran more than 2 miles. And I was dying. And we only did like 3 miles, I think. But I fell in love with it. I caught runner's high. And I had my period of time where I was just fucking dumb. Like my first half marathon, I ran hungover, shit like that. And now that like my back is fucked up, I'm like, damn, all of that stupid shit I was doing.
You just don't think about it. I think Central Park. When I think about the parks that are near to us that like are challenging, Central Park, Cat Hill, that is a brutal hill to run. There's a hill during the Army 10 mile that's pretty crazy too. And then in the Staten Island half, I think towards mile 10, 11, they put a retarded hill. But I think Cat Hill at Central Park is just really ridiculous. And I remember while I was doing those runs, when my E7 at the time, we used to go out and go for runs. He was like twice my age. And he just was always able to run. So I was like, he called me one time. He's like, yo, we were supposed to run today. I'm like, yeah, I got you. I was at BJ's restaurant on my 3rd honey jack and ginger ale. So I'm like, yo, guys, I gotta go run. So I left from JFK, went up to Central Park. I'm like filling the liquor. Finished my 6 miles in like 42 minutes, bro. And I'm just like, I crossed the line, no throw up, no nothing. And like, those are the most painful. Like when you think about it now, when you think about all the pains you have and the ailments you have, you be mad. You be so mad. It's just there's an anger you're trying to figure out because it's just like, I does this. I used to do this. Who does my body think it is doing this to me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
So before you got into running, were you a fitness enthusiast or were you really interested in fitness before, or was it just like, I got to do this to stay in, I work out here and there, or because I think they say the average American works out that's equivalent to like once a week or something like that. That's if you add up, like you go to the gym every day for like 2 weeks and then you don't go for months and then you go 3 times a week.
Inconsistencies. I would say that the Army got me out of shape. As ironic as that sounds.
No, that's not the first time I've heard that.
I think that I understand what they try to do, where they try to, we do these group company runs and we do these battalion runs where everybody in the company runs. But we have some people who, when they put one foot in front of the other, they didn't move. And then you have people whose stride, I guess it's a stride thing. Like, we all have different strides, but because they put shorter people in the front and tall people in the back. It disrupts how we run. So before I got in the military, I was into sports. I ran track in college. I tried to do a walk on a basketball team. I was always like trying to be in sports. So fitness was the reason I had to be like in shape. I wouldn't say I woke up and some people they just love to live. I just always had a reason that was behind me working out. And most of the time it was like, okay, this person's doing this person's doing that, this person's lifting this. I'm very competitive and it's a mental thing for me. Like even when we run these races, you look at somebody and like it'd be like, no offense, you're not supposed to be in front of me. And no offense, you're not supposed to be in front of me. And it's just like, that's how you get through the races. By the time you cross the line, it's like, yeah, y'all. I beat y'all. So I think all my fitness it was always predicated on like, okay, it became about the military since I got in, like, oh, I got to stay in shape for the military. And then obviously like hashtag 3 seconds, like now I just refuse to just be 3 seconds late anyway. But outside of that, I would say like I had to work out because I wanted to be better. And you can't just, depending on the sport, especially college track, that's a different ball game.
Oh my gosh.
That is a different ball game. And then when I got in the military, they're like, oh, you don't got to run your 2 miles in 12 minutes. Like people don't realize you have fast twitch muscles and slow twitch muscles. And over time, when you're working out, if you don't work on those muscles daily, you lose it. Like you lose it. There's workouts you're supposed to be doing. When I ran track, hurdle drills. So there's a certain type of way to lift. Every sport you do, there's a certain type of way to lift. In track, we train fast. Like if you're a sprinter, you train fast. Like everything you do is fast. Power cleans, fast. Everything is fast. And like you train like that. And then I joined the military and they're like, to the back of the line, jog. So it got me out of shape. I just wasn't in track shape anymore. And I played football in high school. I wasn't in football shape anymore. I got in military shape. And it's not bad. It's just not optimal. Like their standards, their height and weight, everything is weird.
Yeah.
No, because I remember when I was in basic AIT, there was this guy, and that's the first time I ever heard that. He was like, the military made me out of shape. So when you say it's not optimal, I feel like you got to preface that with not optimal for you, but it's optimal for the military, maybe.
Nah.
Sometimes there's an overlap where it's not optimal for anyone. I understand that, but I can definitely relate to where you say like you're running and they put you at the back of the line because you're faster than everyone or whatever the case may be. And it's like
They want us to stay together.
yeah, and I get that, but it's like, what does that do for you as an individual?
I think there's power to that. I like the idea of teaching people that regardless of how fast or strong you are, you're one unit. I just think that if they're going to do things like that, PT shouldn't be an everyday thing. Like maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks when you guys do like the group runs, then you do that. But I do think fitness for the military should be on your own time. And that way nobody can hold you back and tell you to go to the back of the line when you're just, running.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I hated about AT. Like I would have like months consistent, and then AT, oh, we're doing group PT or whatever, and then it's like that just kind of completely goes against what I'm doing for me.
Yeah. I've never been a fan of it.
Oof, I wish I knew exactly what y'all were talking about. I wish I
Hashtag
knew.
ready for
Yeah,
us.
y'all don't do group PT?
No.
Do y'all do PT?
Squadron. Y'all don't do squadron PT?
No. So what we do is every time we have an AT week, I say AT week because we don't need to do it for 2 weeks. Like we do that like squadron PT thing, right? But ideally, not really. Like the only people that does PT, like we have a section, like my section is in charge of like conducting the PT tests and stuff like that. So like if you fail a PT test, you get placed into a remedial program after a certain amount of fails, and then you're in there with everyone else that failed, and then that's how you conduct group PT and stuff like that. But what y'all were talking about, I understand what y'all mean, because it's like if you if you exceed the standards of the military's version of PT, then you're kind of just like restricting yourself to match their standards. Whereas like there's someone that's like unfit, unhealthy, they have to push themselves to match that standards. So it's kind of like, you know, in your case, you have to like lower your performance in order to meet the military standards, and someone that's unfit, they have to raise their performance to meet the military standards. So I get what you're saying.
So piggybacking off what you said, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, so I'll give like something positive as well. But something I did like that my unit did was during AT we would have 2 PT tests, and if you passed the first PT test, they would let you do PT on your own. But that was like more like earlier in my career.
Okay.
I'm in division.
Finance.
You in division?
Yeah.
I'm in 42nd. I'm in division.
42nd ID.
I don't know. Like we do when we got our PT tests and stuff, yeah. But I wouldn't say that we like PT's a priority.
That sounds crazy. Like
Nah, I
that
think-
can mean so many things.
No, I feel like I get it, especially as
It's
in the
not. 'Cause
National
it's
Guard.
just, yeah, there's just so many other things that come into play.
Yeah.
Like
So do you do it at all?
I believe they put it in the platoon sergeants and the squad leaders' hands to make sure that it's getting done. But I would say like last year, I would say it's been a weird time because we had COVID, right? Everything was virtual. Then we crept out of COVID. We were deployed the entire time for COVID. We came back. A good portion of drills were virtual, and then we got out of virtual. And like I felt like before you know it, we're getting ready to deploy again. So everything now that we do is geared towards deployment. So we have a lot of late nights. We have a lot of working on the equipment. For those that like never deployed or those that don't know in deployment, we send our equipment out and then it takes like months to get back. And then, you know, you do a left seat, right seat with the equipment. So people don't pack up and take care of the equipment the same way that we would take care of our equipment. So when we get it back, it's all messed up and broken. We're trying to get it inventoried and fixed to go back out again. There's a lot of late drills. I don't feel like we necessarily have time to do the high jumper. Like,
Nah, I agree with you. I feel like the National Guard, it's unrealistic to make PT a priority during drill weekends. AT is more sustainable because you're there every day for 2 weeks, and the tempo is usually calmer than it is during drill. But at drill, it's just nonstop work. Like I work harder during my IDTs, my drill days than I do on Empire Shield. And it's because we're here for this month. We only got 2 days. We got to do everything that would usually take us 2 months to knock out. So who gives a fuck about, who's doing a high jumper? I don't care about
bend
that.
and reach. Like,
Don't be late. We got this paperwork we got to do. You know? I will say, though, to what you said about the fitness standards, I am personally not a fan of the fitness standards for the Army. I do think it's an improvement with the ACFT.
Yeah.
But which you should go to Master Fitness course, you would fucking love it. But when I went, they were they were comparing the standards of a high school athlete to what we're considered a tactical athlete. And pretty much any athlete you could think about can run faster, run longer, and lift heavier than the typical soldier, like by a landslide. Like I think our minimum deadlift is like 140 pounds. High school athletes are putting up 500s. You know, how many people in your unit could put up 500? You know, so I do think that the standards need to change, and I completely understand like having to not water down your standards, but over time you lose the fitness standards that you have because of the military.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you kind of got to set your own standard and like work around that and like know like, okay, this is when I have a PT test. This is when I'm going to turn it up. This is when I'm not. So for me, I schedule my own PT tests with my admin. I go throughout the year. I look at like, okay, this is when I feel like I'm going to take a PT test, the window. Then I look at the weather. Because some units, I don't know, when they sit around the table, exactly what goes through the thought process of making a PT test during certain hurricanes and tornadoes, and I don't get it. It just doesn't make sense.
Do
to
y'all
me.
still do PT even though it like rains or something like that?
That
or?
doesn't really stop a PT test.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
wild.
No, I think the only thing that interrupts a PT test, because I've ran a couple PT tests, would be if there's thunder outside. They'll be like, okay, everybody get to cover or whatever. They can't be outside. And we're in the northeast hemisphere, so that's pretty all we're really gonna deal with. I mean, we had like a mini earthquake scare the other day, but I don't really foresee that happening again. And I really feel like if the earthquake came, somebody's screaming to bend and reach somewhere.
Yo,
Like, it's not
Like, nah,
stopping.
just take 2 minutes off.
Yeah,
Listen,
it's
I'm
not
telling you,
stopping anything. Like,
Listen, if in the Air Force, if the track is wet, PT's canceled. That's it. I need y'all to join. Y'all see the life is better on the other side, man.
It's much better.
I don't know. Is it a pride or ego thing? Because I can't tell. I think for me personally, it's an ego thing. I feel like if I understand the easier part of like life being easier going over to the Air Force, but there's something in me that just doesn't bring me to go to the Air Force. Like when everybody talks about how great life is, like
I wouldn't say life is like easier there because I feel like the pendulum, it switches. Like all the stuff in the Army that was hard is easy in the Air Force, but all the stuff that was easy in the Army is hard in the Air Force.
example.
Like all your admin readiness, all of that stuff, you are in charge of that. You don't have one NCO that's taking care of everyone. You're the person taking care of it. And then you start to realize how much stuff that one admin did for like everyone because you have to do everything. So it's kind of like, yeah, you know, the PT is easy and they actually give you hotels and stuff when you go to drill and they don't really treat you like a piece of crap sometimes. But, you know, in terms of like maintaining your own career in the military, it's kind of like they're very big on that. Like you won't get promoted unless you actually do the work necessary to get promoted, and that's like on the job training, that's like paperwork, like your CDCs, which is like the SSDs, if that's what they're even still called.
That ain't a thing no more.
Call it DLC now.
DLC. Okay, yeah, so
I don't
like the
even know if
DLCs,
they got rid of it, right?
Yeah, they got rid of it.
And-
We're about to have like everybody about to be a sergeant major. It's gonna be like the Spider-Man meme. Everybody's gonna be
Yeah.
no, you do this.
Yo,
yeah, so it's kind of like it switches. Like one, you trade one hard thing for another, you trade one easy thing for another. That's about it.
Since you did so, we are all assuming that you prefer the Air Force, but when you put it like that, like, do you still change your mind about like what the preference is? Like,
Honestly, I wish there was a combination of both the Air Force and the Army.
Space Force. I wonder how they're doing it over there.
No one knows what do they do. I don't know.
I think I've only seen pictures. I haven't seen a space. Force
I've
in
never
person.
seen
seen
them.
one Space
Seen
Force
them there at Fort Drum. You see them at Fort Drum. They're walking around there.
Oh, yeah. I'll be there.
And I
this
saw
Doing-
them in
doing what?
Massachusetts. They're there. Their uniform looks exactly like Air Force. So you think they're Air Force, and then when you like tune in, it says Space Force.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I miss the Army for like the simplicity of it.
Not thinking part.
Yes, the not thinking part. There you go.
hate that
But I like
terminology.
the Air Force because of the ease of living in the military. You know, they don't actually, they have to be considerate. And if you know, like if you're doing what you have to do, I mean, granted, you have the politics portion of it. Of course, it's like not what you know, it's who you know. But
Oh, so I just want to clarify, I'm not bashing anyone. Most people, not all people in the army, don't have to think.
That's why I hate that concept of you just got to show up. So it's only like 4 people in the unit who's actually thinking.
which is
And when
yeah,
you're, and when you're
that's
one
the
of the
switch.
people that's thinking, You come to drill angry.
Yeah.
You come to drill furious, like. And then you just like they look at you like it's an insult when you ask them to think. Like, didn't you not think about this? And they look at, and you're like,
Hey, ain't that your job?
it's
basic training's fault though, because they drill into you like, don't think, right place, right time, right uniform. You don't have to think about anything else.
I don't think it's basic training. I think it's the culture and the Army trying to adapt with the culture. Because basic training is basic. It's supposed to just teach you the basic soldiering. Then you get to your unit's supposed to teach you everything else. But I don't know if it's between we just got to get people in. So
It is.
Yo, sign right here. Or it's just how the units function now, because you can't do the same things now that you could do or say 10 years ago. Like, if I call a soldier outright, like, yo, you're fucking stupid, they can file a complaint and then I get demoted because I called the soldier stupid.
They be demoting people like hotcakes in the Army. That is crazy how they just pull rank, just like, give me that. You don't need that.
It's a different world now.
I think they need to start doing the soldier sponsorship program again. I think there's a lot of units that don't do the soldier sponsorship sponsorship program. So the issue is when a new soldier comes in and they start like interacting with soldiers that's been there for a long time, especially the disgruntled ones, they adopt the attitude of the disgruntled soldiers. So now you're fighting against the already person that's been disgruntled, and then you have to adapt to the new attitude and the new improved attitude, because it's like, you already dealt with the old culture, and as people are getting older and coming in, they're like, it's like getting worse and worse and worse. So when two disgruntled meet, you're fighting. It's a battle you're not gonna win. Like, there's no way to win that battle. I think getting more soldiers on board with like what's going on, and then appointing them like, hey, this is the soldier you need to be around. This is the soldier you need to interact. And I feel like the process to get people out is too intricate and it doesn't get done enough. Because if you knew that it's gonna take years to get you out for not even coming to drill, why would you come to drill?
Yeah.
Like there's no the repercussions are severe, but they're not severe. They're intricate, but they're not intricate. It's like there's a double-edged sword to everything. No matter what side you try to battle it, it's like there's no way around it. So it's just like, the way I see it is like, I don't know. It's a battle.
We do need to kick more people out. I was having a conversation with him earlier.
That's immediately what I thought about.
I can't remember the name of his name. I think it's Strauss or something like that. No, it's not Levi Strauss. But he was a CEO, and he was known for firing people. And his last speech when he retired, they was like, yo, is there anything that you wish you would have did differently? And he was like, yeah, I should have fired more people. And he made a good point, though. Like, firing people is not to just say, fuck you, get out of here. It's, if you want to cultivate an environment, you have to get rid of everyone who's against that environment. Because you keep the toxicity in, it's just going to spread. So he was a firm believer in firing the toxicity.
But the issue with that is that sometimes those people that are toxic have the most experience or have that necessary
From experience, that doesn't matter. I feel like you should get rid of those people.
Sometimes, not all the time, but it's like, and they take that no matter who it is. Like, even if you get rid of all the toxic people, all the older people are going to retire, and they're going to take all that knowledge with them as well. And you always have new people coming in. So it's like they're going to lose that knowledge on both ends. So they really come in not knowing their head from their feet.
I think knowledge, though, is something that you can attain. Like, you can teach someone knowledge, but to correct a toxic person or an ain't shit soldier, they just ain't shit. You got to get rid of them. If you're trainable, I could work with that. If you're just a horrible person who I can't correct and I just got to wait for you to ETS, that's annoying. And that's annoying for everyone around.
But how do you know why they ain't shit?
I don't think it matters.
Yeah,
like to a degree it does, sure. Like you should do your due diligence and whatnot. But I feel like if you do your due diligence and they're not improving, then it's time for you to go.
I remember I went to this new unit, and there was this very disgruntled soldier, always talk shit about the unit. It was like, yo, I gotta leave this place. Fuck this. And I'm like, yo, what's your gripe? And he's like, yo, it's favoritism. He's like, they only promote the people that they love, this and that. I've been this rank for years and I keep getting looked up because they want to bring somebody in. This man has it past height and weight in like 10 years. So it's
So his gripe is they like the people that pass.
yeah, the people who meet the standards.
It's
But
funny.
you get a lot of that in the military.
It's funny. We were actually talking about this earlier, where I was saying like people never tell you the full story. They just tell you about what they feel you did wrong.
3 sides to every story.
10 years. 10 fucking years. But I do want to go back to the fitness stuff.
Got a
Because I
little
feel like we
sidetracked.
could talk about the military, for days. But when you got into running, how was it doing strength training to complement that? Because in my personal experience, I have a favorite. And it's easier for me to wake up and be like, yeah, I'm going to go for a run than it is be like, damn, I got to do full body today. I ain't trying to do that,
I had tunnel vision. So it's like the only time I ran more than 3 miles was if I had a race coming up. And even for the 13 miles, I didn't run over 5. So it's like, it was like knowing that I made 3 miles a part of my workout. Like it had to be part of my workout. Because 3 miles was part of my workout, it didn't feel like, okay, I didn't separate the two. So now, because when you start putting like a divider down the middle and saying, okay, well now I gotta run, and then oh my God, now I gotta go lift. It's like you're pulling teeth with yourself to figure out like how you're gonna do it. But if you tell yourself, all right, 3 miles is my warm up, or 3 miles is how I get into my workout, then it becomes natural. Like it's just like, all right, these 3 miles is gonna get done, like regardless. And then if I know I had a race coming up, people think that the people that run marathons before the actual marathon. You don't. People think that people that run 10 miles before they have to do 10 miles. You don't. You literally run maximum 5 miles and you test yourself in those miles. Like you test yourself, you be like, all right, my first mile is a warm up, my second mile, I gotta come in hot. Third mile, gotta come in hot. Fourth mile, I'm chilling. Fifth mile, I'm fighting to get home. Like that. But if you do that, your 5 miles become easy when you just have to go out for a run. But for me, I would say that 3 miles was part of my workout. So it didn't feel like I gotta go for a run. It just felt like more so like, okay, it's part of my workout. Like I was running in the morning. I would get up in the morning. I'd run at like 7, 8. And then I would go home, shower, change, go straight to Fort Hamilton. And I'm already like lifting. So it's like it became routine.
I like that.
Just a schedule.
I might have to steal that idea. I'm going to try that. Because right now I'm running or trying to run 4 times a week, and I strength train 3 times a week. But it's always more difficult for me to do the strength training because those are the days where I have double workouts. So it's like, I run in the morning, come back, and it's like, damn, I gotta lift too.
It's
or
crazy.
I
I
gotta
was
do
lifting
my
at night.
calisthenics.
It's crazy. I was lifting twice a day and I was running in the morning. That was my regimen. 3 seconds does a lot
twice
to
a
you.
day and running.
3 seconds would do a lot to you. I'm telling you. Like it'd do a lot. So I was waking up in the morning. I'd run 3 miles. I used to run by that park over by JFK. There's a park over by JFK that one time around the park is a mile. I used to run that 3 times.
Right on a belt.
It wasn't actually on the belt. It was like 3 blocks away from where the Wendy's and the gas station is over there. It's 3 blocks away from there. But there's a BP gas station, and there's a park across the street from the gas. You know what I'm talking about? Around that park one time is a mile. Used to run that park. I used to live like 15, 20 minutes away. Go back home, change, go to Fort Hamilton, lift with the whole squad from work. They would come in and we would all be lifting crazy, and then we would leave. I would leave, go to work. I'd get off work, and at the time I had a girlfriend. We would meet at I'd get off work at like 9:30, 10. We meet at 10, and we spend an hour in Bally's right before close. Circuit. 3, 4, 5 circuits. And
Jeez.
on try to get every machine in. And that was her workout. And then it's just like, you just got to find things that like motivate you. Me, 3 seconds. Her, we were going together.
I respect that.
Does she still go?
I have no idea. I don't know what she is.
You know, you made me think about when people ask me for advice on passing the run for the ACFT. And I always tell people is the only time you're supposed to run that fast for the ACFT is when you're taking ACFT. If you are not actively taking the ACFT, you should be running slower.
Man.
And a lot of people don't get that. And I think that's why people hate running. Is you try to run your heart out every time you run. Of course you're gonna hate it. And it wasn't until I ran more than the 2 miles for the first time, I had no choice but to run slower. I was dying. But then I fell in love with the art of building up mileage and the endurance aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's...
So that's an interesting concept. I feel like, I'm not in it anymore, and I don't really deal with that. But people I talk to who, like, they wanted to get into fitness and whatnot, I feel like they struggle with getting started. And what I like to tell people is that the most effective workout you're going to do is the one that you're actually going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I find, from my experience, and I've been guilty of this myself, that sometimes I'll just do too much, and you got to know when to pull yourself back. Like for me, I used to work out like 4 or 5 times a week or whatever, and I noticed that I would skip a lot of workouts. So eventually, after a while, I was like, hey, maybe I should just do 3 times a week. And that works very well for me. I haven't missed a workout in maybe, I think I told you, like, what? I missed one in the last, like, 3 months, I'd say. But there was extenuating circumstances or whatever the case might be. But the point of that was that I feel people should not overdo it as well. That's a such thing.
I think it's hard for people to not overdo it, especially when they're trying to get into fitness. Like, a lot of times people think that if you're not sore and in pain at the end of a workout, you didn't work out. Nah, bro. That's not how it works.
I think when you're young, you can get away with that. And I think that's what people use as their like benchmark for working out. It's like, hey, when I was young, I used to do this, and that. But as you get older, that is not sustainable.
Nah, not at all.
I mean, what if you're trying to start working out, those that are actually like around our age that are like, hey, I feel like now is the time I should probably start. I don't know why, but now is the time I should probably start.
Slow is smooth is fast.
Yeah, that's where I go back to my advice. The best workout routine is the one that you're actually going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I felt like you guys hit on like 2 points that when I think about it, I think the people that are now starting that don't have a routine or whatever the case is, it's like, all right, cool. But I think you could relate. Like, when you know like where you've been, how you looked, how you used to operate. Like for me, going back to when I said I used to wake up in the morning and run, lift, go to work, lift again. And then even on deployment, like my deployment workout routine was ridiculous. I was getting in 25,000 steps a day. I worked overnight, which people like, if you go overseas, work overnight. Like you're going to literally be working during the day here. And when you come back, your sleep is just going to be much better than when you're here.
I never thought about that. That makes a lot of sense.
No, because when it's 10 a.m. over here, it's 5 p.m. over there. So I worked overnight, and I used to work through the night. I get off at like 7, 8. I go straight to the gym. I do 3 miles, right? And I do 3 miles in sprints and still finish it. I do 1 minute on, 1 minute off. 3 miles, still finish it in under 27, right? I would do that on the treadmill. Bad idea for those who run. Treadmill is a bad idea. It's a mess up your knees. So you go off. I was doing my 3 miles, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, abs, right? Go back to the room, go to sleep, wake up, 3 miles again. Treadmill, sprints again, 1 minute on, 1 minute off, lift, heavy. Like I'm talking about squatting 3 plates, leg press 5 plates, 25 times, 4 sets. I was wilding.
for.
I have like when I go back and that's a struggle because when I go back and look at the videos of how I used to lift on deployment, because I think some people be like, oh, I could put on 5 plates and do a leg press. I'm telling you, you do that 4 sets of 25 means you're doing 100. I promise you, you'll feel that. But I got in a rhythm where we were doing that like every week until I left, and it's a struggle when you're trying to find your rhythm again, and you also know like where you came from. And like it's you versus your rhythm, your old rhythm, your pitches. I be wanting to delete them. So it's your old rhythm, your pitches, and your injuries. And it's like that is one of the toughest uphill battles because it's like if all 3 is not affecting you, it's one of them that is affecting you that day. And then with getting up and working out as hard as it is, but then it's like now I gotta go face my back pain. Or I gotta go face. I woke up and Snapchat said 5 years ago you was lifting 5 plates 25 times, and now you're looking at the video like I'm gonna go do that, and you get to 3 and you leave the gym.
Nah,
Because
that's
you
crazy.
realize it's just like you're not there anymore. So it's just like that's a struggle. That's an uphill battle that is just like a lot of people don't realize it's tough.
I think that's kind of like it has to be that way though because we get older. You know, whether we like to admit it or not, like our body like deteriorates over time. You know, we after 30, 35, we start losing like 1% of our bodily function each year. And it's like crazy to like know that's happening. So like if you're looking at a picture of yourself at like 25, 24 and you're like, yeah, I'm benching this or I'm squatting this, and then like you try to do that now and you can only do like half of that. You know, it's kind of like a reality check you have to make peace with. You know, I mean, granted, there are some people that can still do it, but those are people that like dedicate themselves. I'm not saying you or anyone else doesn't, but those that can't do it, you know, they're not the ones that have the opportunity to do it. And there's also injuries and stuff that you were talking about that coincides with it.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's interesting for me because I can relate to the injury part because I have my injuries or whatever, but I got help with them, so I'm pretty good at managing them.
That's important.
Yeah,
But figuring out how to manage them because it's like figuring out how to manage them and finding your place of comfort again is like tough because then you're like your place of comfort is trying to find where you once were, but not where you once were physically, where you once were mentally. Because physically, like you said, your body's you get older. Interestingly, the Army thinks that when you hit 30, you're at optimal shape. But for most of us, knee pain sets in at 28, slightly, and then at 30, it takes full on. Like when you get up, you hear pop, crackle, snapple.
I disagree with that. I think that's a cop out. I think as you get older, you can still lift or do whatever at the same tempo, speed, or strength as when you were younger. I think what changes is that as you get older, the fundamentals matter more. Like when I was 25 years old, I didn't care about warming up before a run. Now my warm up is 45 minutes long, and it's because I have to take better care of my body. And I think, you know, the injuries and stuff, it happens because you don't care as much when you're young. You know, you're able to just do shit like that. Like I remember fucking jumping out windows for fun. Can't do that shit now.
What floor? Third floor?
yes. So that's along the lines of what I was gonna say because I've never had that issue. So the injuries part, I feel like I got that down pat. Like sometimes I have issues and whatnot, but for the most part, I can figure it out. But I've never had the issue of like looking back and being like, hey, you know, I used to be able to do this or whatever the case might be. Me specifically, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life right now. So maybe that's why, but I don't know. I can't relate to that statement.
Yeah, I can relate to that too because in Kuwait, we did the half. and my splits was like 850 something per mile.
Yeah.
And then I took the last ACFT I took. It was for my job. I had to pop 2 aspirins, and I ran it in like 18 minutes, and that was just 2 miles. And I'm like, fuck. So I get that. Like I compared myself, like, yo,
It's probably
I was
because of the
overseas doing
aspirins.
this. Well, I was in mad pain after too.
You shouldn't have
Like
took
I had to lay
aspirin.
straight. Nah, I needed to.
I'm gonna do a little promo real quick.
Or ibuprofen. It was.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
you
it
shouldn't
was
take
ibuprofen.
aspirin before you run. That's wild.
I'm
surgery.
gonna do a little promo real quick. What do you like for your injuries? Like, are you seeing anyone for them?
Well, I'm going to the VA, and they're like, doing what the VA does. But I'm trying to outsource. I'm trying to outsource because, like, for me, I had a lot of good doctors when I was in Brooklyn, but then I moved to Jersey, and trying to find doctors, I've been trying to figure it out. But I'm like, I might end up coming back to Brooklyn because I come here to go to work anyways. So I'm like, let me map that out.
If you do that, like 2 minutes from here, Paul, he was on the show once. Phenomenal.
Yeah, he actually recommended me to Paul when I hurt my knee. I was out for 3 months, and I went to him, and sure enough, ever since then, I could run faster, longer, and stronger. Just off of, he specializes in running too. Or I believe he does. That's what he said, right? And game changer. Highly recommend.
He's like literally across the street.
Yeah, you probably got to pay out of pocket, but
that's
you can't
the
put a
downside.
price on health.
Fair enough. Oh, so he don't take Parke.
Nah.
Nah.
Got it.
And he upped his prices recently, right? You said?
Yeah. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Yeah, that's not a good promo. That's not a good promo.
Yo,
The work though.
it's worth the money. I feel like he upped his price because he was getting too much business, so he's trying to like get rid of some people.
Yeah, and
Got it.
he's very attentive too.
Yeah, it's like you go, it's a one-on-one session. You're with him the entire hour or whatever that it is now. So it's definitely worth it.
Like when I was going to him, I thought that I was his only client. Like he hit me up throughout the week too, and he's like, "Hey, so how's the progression? How do you feel? This and that." It was worth it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into it.
Top 5 best money I've ever spent in my life.
What was the top one?
I'd have to think about it. Probably I can't even remember. Talib, the coach that I had. Yeah,
Okay,
probably him.
that makes sense. Do you have any fitness goals right now?
I think that
Well, you got your yearly goal, the ACFT.
yeah, but the ACFT is not even a yearly goal for me because now I'm on a ever since like when I broke my leg and I passed it, I'm just like I'm definitely never failing it again. I have no excuse.
Yo, if you could
I
pass
did it
my
on one
broke-
leg, like I have no excuse. So for
to
me, I think when it comes to goals, I just want to get to a place where I'm not in pain. Like
It's a good goal.
that, like my goal is to get to, because I have days where I go to the gym and I'm good, and I leave the gym and I'm like, oh wow, like this was a pain-free day, and I feel like it affects my mood the entire day. And then I have days where I go to the gym and it's a day where I'm like hampered and I can't figure out what to do, and I go in and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, but then as I realize what I'm feeling, it's changing as I'm in the gym. And then there are days that it gets to a point where it's just like, okay, I'm leaving, because there's literally nothing I can do. My back pain is bad enough to the point where like I'll run, I would say maybe a block, and I start to feel it, and then if it gets increasingly bad, then it's like I can't stand up straight. So then, but I learned certain secrets about certain things. Like I learned about ATGs and VMOs, and I realized that opening up your hips, like hip stretches, alleviate your back pain. Like, so now that I started learning about a lot of these things, I started I think one of my goals is to make sure that I have a consistent warm up that incorporates these things, and get to a place where like, okay, I have pain-free days where I'm going to the gym and I'm comfortable in the gym again, because I'm uncomfortable in the gym. I love the gym, but I'm not comfortable to the point where like I can go and just be like, okay, let me have a blast, because it used to be like that. So my goals are more they're not really like, let me see how far I can run or fast I can run or how much I can lift. It's, I think to encompass it would be getting back in the gym comfortably and not being in a place where it's like, okay, today, this week is great, next week is, because for some people, I don't know about most people, but fitness for me ties into how I feel and how my day goes. You know, like I can work out and have a crazy workout and still feel like I got a lot of sleep, and I can I could go to the gym and not get a great workout in, and it's like I'm sluggish, I'm tired, I'm like I didn't get a good workout in today's dragging feet. I'm not feeling how I want to feel, you know? So I would say getting comfortable in the gym again.
Amen to that. I like that. Do you guys have any fitness goals currently?
It's the best shape of my life.
Yeah, Mr.
Is
Best
there a
shape
cap?
of my life.
Is there
Yeah,
a cap? Did
please.
you cap it?
No. You
Man,
guys?
I don't know. Maybe just, I guess, not feel sluggish for now. That's what it is. I think that's mostly diet endo than like exercise. Cause like I use this app where I like work out like 6 times, like 6 days a week, and it rotates. So like on Mondays, you're never doing the same thing, right? And it's been working so far. I noticed changes. I'm feeling like better, but I guess maybe like just, yeah, not feel like sluggish.
What app do you use? What's the name of it?
It is called Clank.
Clank.
Yes.
Interesting name.
Yes, it is. But Zamet recommended me Body Fit. Which
never heard
is
of that one.
which is probably like a better version. I have to check that one out, but it's because the workouts on Clank is very limited and they don't incorporate abs. And I'm like,
Does
wow.
it make a program for you or what?
Like they have a set of programs already there, but you can create your own workout regimen.
Okay.
Do you remember like what number? You have an iPhone?
Yes.
So that must be like, cause like when I go looking for apps, I stop at 10. Like it'll be like the number one app. Like if it didn't make top 10, I'm like nobody else has it. I'm not doing it.
Number one.
So it must be deep.
That-
Because I never heard of these apps. Like,
What's the number one app you use?
I mean, I've used Apple Watch. Like the Apple Watch, like I stick to clicking whatever my Apple Watch tells me and then like keeping up with my heart rate and stuff like that.
That's solid advice right
Yeah.
there.
Like what, cause I just feel like a lot of the apps, like they have a lot going on, and then like it just adds to for me personally, I don't know about other people, but I feel like I said before, one of my goals is to get comfortable in the gym. I'm already stressed. So like to try to figure out the whole app situation and if it, like for some people it works. Like to me, I think I'll start getting more into the apps when I'm more in like a routine. But for now, I be going in the gym, and even sometimes I forget to click the watch. I just be like, click it, and it's interesting because I didn't know that when you click the watch, it's different to keeping up with your heart rate and all that stuff. Because when I was overseas, I never clicked a workout on here. I just wore my watch, and at the end of the workout, I'd be like, oh, I burned 2,000 calories. But a regular watch, when you don't click the actual workout, it'll say you burned 2,000 calories, and it's like, okay, I burned. But you definitely burned more because it didn't track your heart rate. It didn't track any of that. It's just going off of like your moving goal, your standing goal, and your exercise goal. And I never close my exercise goal because like when you click exercise, it'll track it. But for move and stand, it'll do that because I'm obviously moving around. If I was always like, even now, like today, I'm at 19 on the day, I'm at 1900 on the day. So,
I'm not sponsored, but I
Yeah.
used the Apple Watch for a very long time, and I fell in love with the Garmin. So I have this is the Garmin Phoenix. I think it's 7. I don't know what number they up to, but it's the one previous. But what sold me to this is besides, it's amazing for cardio, but it can also track other workouts. But what sold me was there's an app that I use for running called V.02, and it creates a workout plan for you based on your goals and stuff. If you have a race date, you could input it, and it tracks whether you're just doing a base or you're preparing for a 5K, 10K, half full, whatever, and it syncs to this. So when I wake up, I don't have to click on the app. Like, I click, I go to run, and it just says, hey, do you want to do the workout? This is what the workout is. And I click go, and it does it. And so much so that it breaks down splits. So, like, if I got to do sprints, my watch will vibrate, okay, run 400 meters. Then it breaks, it says, okay, 1 minute rest period. So I don't have to think about it anymore. So just throw that out there if y'all want Garmin and the VO2 app.
VO2. I haven't used a running app since I haven't successfully ran over. I haven't ran over 3 miles since deployment, so that's about 2-3 years, I'd say. I came back in 21, end of 2020. It was about 4 years. I haven't ran over 2 miles outside of PT test, like, and it's been brutal. Like, for me, it's been brutal because I'd be like, damn, I used to run, like,
You gotta
and
go
and
see
it's a like there really is like a runner's high. Like, you don't feel it until, I would say, at 2.5 miles. That's when you feel it. You break your little, I don't feel like running at like 1.5. You get past that little half-mile point and you get 2, and then when you get to like 2.5, you're like, it's really not that bad. And then when you run races, you don't really feel your race till mile 5 or 6 because everybody that's running that race, y'all all together so close for about 2.5 miles, 3. Everybody and their mother just runs 3 miles, and then like at 3 miles, 3.5 miles, it starts to break apart.
Yeah.
And you start feeling, because it's just like, it's crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you look up and it's like you already hit the 3 mile mark. You're like, oh wow, this is what I've been training for.
Do you use any devices besides the Apple Watch?
I don't. I was looking into remember I keep asking you about the ring,
Yeah.
because my sleep is horrible. And for those that are like in fitness, like your diet and your sleep is like the 2 most important things. It's probably more important than the actual workout. Like, and my sleep is bad, so that's why I was like, yo, let me get because with the Apple Watch, it's annoying. Like, the Apple Watch, you put it on, and I have to pick, like, am I gonna get a good workout in and charge it, or am I gonna sleep and charge it? Like, because if after keeping it on all day and then you go to work and come back, it's done. Like, I could probably go a day and a half without charging it on a full charge.
It's true.
And it's like, I gotta pick. So I usually pick it for the workouts. I wanted to really start tracking my sleep, so I was looking into the ring thing that you had. I was really interested in that, the Oura Ring. And I'm looking for a new running app because the Nike app is, I don't know. I think, I guess maybe for people who've never ran before, it works for them. But the Nike running app, I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, I tried it, and when I tried it was the time I got hurt. But that's because I was stupid. Like, it told me to run 4 miles one day, 6 miles the next day, 7 miles the next day, and I tried it like a dumbass. This was before I was even running close to halves, and got hurt. But the Oura Ring is amazing. I battle when I wear it because I'm a tech nerd. So I have the Oura Ring. I just restarted my subscription with the Whoop Band.
What's that?
The what?
The Whoop Band. It's a fitness tracker for your wrist that tracks like your HRV. It tracks your strain level. It also tracks your sleep. And it's designed to be worn 24/7. So like it has like the charger for it. You could pop it out and put it on top, and it'll charge while you're wearing it. So I got that again. The issue I had with it before is that I was wearing it too tight and it was annoying. But that's how I am with all gadgets. The watch is the only thing that I could wear comfortably for an extended period of time. That's why I don't wear the ring. But I also got the A-Pod mattress. Yo.
What? The what?
A-Pod?
Yeah, it's a smart mattress cover. So like,
Oh, it's a cover.
yeah.
Because I already got the purple mattress. So I could put that on top of the purple mattress and feel even more comfortable.
Yo, it first of all,
I've never even heard of this.
it controls
expensive.
the temperature of the mattress, right? So like an hour before I go to bed, my whole mattress cools. right? It optimizes the temperature for you to get better sleep. It also tracks sleep. And the alarm, it vibrates gently to wake you up. It tracks a lot of metrics. I love it. It heats up to wake you up too. So now I use that mostly to track my fitness. And any tracking I take with a grain of salt, but I'd argue that when it comes down to sleep, the Oura Ring is hands down the best. But for ease, the 8-pot mattress I use mostly.
Let me ask y'all, how on a
I saw your face.
on an average, how much hours of sleep do y'all get?
I try to get 7. I try.
Try. How much do you get? Like normally?
Way to
Like-
find out.
Normally, I would say normally now I get like 7. Yeah, I get like 7. I'm usually in
Like-
bed by 11. I pass out by midnight and I wake up at 7 a.m.
Okay. Darn.
So for me, I feel like I block out a window to sleep. So it's like 11 to 7:30, but I don't always sleep that entire time. So it's like right now I'm doing like 7, but I think it's because it's warmer.
Okay.
When it's colder, I tend to sleep more.
Okay.
I aspire to be like you guys.
Me too.
Because I all right, so I get off of work. Now with the new mission, I'm getting a little bit more sleep. Because of the hours, like we get off, I'm usually heading home by like 9:45 as opposed to 10:30 before, which is a big difference when I'm going to Jersey. Because the construction starts at 10:15. So it'll add 15 minutes to my drive easy if I don't beat certain constructions. So now I'm getting home like 10:30, 10:45. I don't fall asleep till about 11:30, 11:45. I don't know what goes on during the day with my dogs, but they have a field day. So when I get home, I gotta clean up whatever they decided tantrum they was gonna do because I left. And then that takes me about an hour. So I would say my sleep, but I go to the gym early though. I'm in the gym. I recently started going to the gym later, but I'm in the gym by 6:30. So I'm not getting the sleep I'm supposed to get because I'm leaving my house. The gym's like 15, 20 minutes away. It used to be further because I was going to a further LA Fitness. I used to be in the gym at like 5. Like I would be going through the doors at 5 when they open. And that's because I'm gonna be honest, I can't, when I try to work out like 8, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock,
At night.
no, in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not feeling it. I'm
Is
really
it
not.
because like it's crowded or?
Not only is it crowded, it's like I'm just like my body's just not there with it. But I'm gonna be honest, I've trained like that for so many years. Like being somebody that trains early. Like my workouts are done at 9. Like when everybody's like now getting up and getting to the gym and starting their lift, I'm done. Like I'm done working out. Like, and I just feel good in the gym at that time. I'm not gonna lie. The hardest part is getting out of bed because I feel like I just closed my eyes. But once I get in the gym, I'm good. And then I'll get back home and I try to catch a nap unless I have something to do, and then I go to work. So my sleep it's inconsistent. I don't feel like I've gotten a full. Every once in a while, I'll sleep in. Some Saturdays, some Fridays. But not when I graduate this week, I think my sleep's gonna get way better because there'll be no more getting home and having to write a paper or doing homework in the morning or getting up early to submit an assignment. It'll be okay. And then I go to Brooklyn College and I live in Jersey. And let me tell you, that journey ain't it.
Jesus.
My class was at 9 a.m., so I would leave my house at 6 and I'd get to the school by 8 because of traffic. Like if you left any later than 6:30, just go back home. Like because the traffic, no matter what, the Holland Tunnel, Lincoln Tunnel, George Washington Bridge, no matter which way I took, is compiled traffic on top of dealing with Brooklyn regular traffic. So it's bad. It takes about an hour and 25, 30 minutes minimum to get to school.
God damn.
Twice a week.
Okay. Yeah, that's rough. That's
And then to be one of the 4 that's thinking for the unit.
One of the 4 that's
It's a lot of pressure.
yeah. I don't know how do y'all do it? I get like on average 5 hours of sleep.
Me too.
On average.
Is it because you're doing overnight now,
Yeah,
or
that's when I was doing overnight. I got like no sleep.
yeah?
I mean, it could be like that, but I remember I was doing overnight on my civilian side as well. But I guess I was also getting 5 hours there as well. But probably, I don't know.
Overnight is not it for your health.
Try to get blackout curtains, maybe.
The hotel has blackout curtains.
Damn.
Yeah.
Hotel. DK Fonte.
No, it's because of the mission. But yeah, like I can't remember the last time I've had like 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah, sleep
Maybe
is a
like
priority
a
for me,
year or
and
so ago.
7 ain't enough.
Yo, I wish I could get more than 7.
Same.
But with the work hours, I like 7 is the earliest I'd wake up. If the work hours were from like 10 to 6, that would be amazing because then I would still go to sleep the same time. Well, I'd go to sleep an hour earlier, so I'd have 8 hours. Ideally, I'd like 8 hours a day, but with 7, I can survive. Less than that, though, I'm miserable the whole day. The whole day.
These days I'm the clutch. Love thick girls with a truck. Type of girls to curve everything on the right turn except for us. Bank accounts going nuts. Ex girls showing up.